This woman went viral on TikTok and other social media platforms after killing her mom because of her bizarre behavior in court during trial. Hello mysterious family, welcome back to Mysterious Mariam, and I'm Mariam AHSAN. Before getting into the details to today's video, let me put forward a fair warning and disclaimer that this video is going to contain some graphical explanation of murder, and this video is for educational purposes and all the information taken is present online. Let's get started. Isabella Guzman was born in June 1995 to Richard Guzman and Yunmi Hoy in United States. Her parents got divorced within a few years of her birth, and this divorce really took a toll on Isabella's mental health. She was taken in by her mother, Yunmi Hoy, although her close family, including her biological father, Richard Guzman, described her as a sweet and kind-hearted girl. She was really causing trouble to her mother from early years of her life. Her mother, finding it too hard to handle her, sent her to live with her father when she was only 7 years old. Experts believe that this was another major trauma to her mental health, having sense of abandonment from her mother, and this really made a huge gap between mother-daughter relationship. She couldn't stay with her father for too long and ultimately moved back with her mother. But there was another mental shock waiting for her. Her mother started seeing another man, Ryan Hoy, and Isabella particularly was not happy about this fact. And then Yunmi and Ryan Hoy got married. Isabella had all these kind of behavioral issues. She continued to struggle throughout her teen years, and she also dropped out of high school. She always resented her mother and even hated her. Her parents were poor and could not afford many things that Isabella wanted as a kid. This led to the arguments in the family, but her parents hoped that as Isabella grew up, she would be more understanding of their financial condition. Isabella's parents saw warning signs that Isabella was slipping off the edge. Unfortunately, her family and her mother until now were categorizing her behavior as behavioral problems, and they were not getting her any psychological help. In August 2013, Isabella was now 18 years old. They were living in South Lima Street, Aurora, US. Her relationship with her mother started to deteriorate further quickly. According to her stepfather, Ryan Hoy, Isabella became more threatening and disrespectful towards her mother. There were now physical fights between mother and daughter. Isabella was not like other children of her age. She never smiled or wanted to play or spend time with her family. On Tuesday, August 27, 2013, the two had a particularly nasty argument that ended up in Isabella spitting in her mother's face. After the argument, Isabella was so mad that she sent an email to her mother the next morning, the morning of August 28th, that simply read, "You will pay." Yunmi called police at her house receiving this email. Police came to their house thinking of it any normal domestic unrest, talked to Isabella trying to make her realize that she was 18 now, and if her mom wanted, she could kick her out of her house, so she better behave. Seeing no improvement, around 6 that evening, Yunmi called Isabella's biological father, Richard Guzman, and asked him to come and have a talk with Isabella so that he could talk some sense in her. Robert Guzman arrived at the house that evening. They sat down in the backyard, looking at the trees and the animals, started to talk to her about the respect that people should have for their parents, and that she should be obedient to her parents, not rebellious, that she should try to listen more. And by looking at her, he thought that he made progress. Even her stepfather said that things appeared to have calmed down after police visit, and Isabella stayed in her room for the rest of the evening. On the night of August 28, 2013, Yunmi Hoy arrived home from work around 9:30. She told her husband Ryan that she was going upstairs to take a shower. Ryan was having his dinner when he heard a thud and his wife's voice calling his name, thinking his wife might have fallen in the shower, but he soon heard blood-curdling screams. Ryan Hoy rushed upstairs just in time to see Isabella Guzman slamming the bathroom door shut. He tried to push through, but Isabella had locked it and was pushing against the other side. When he saw blood seeping beneath the door, he raced back downstairs to call 911. Around 10:11, Ryan called 911 informing the dispatcher about the commotion going on in that bathroom. And when he returned upstairs, outside the bathroom, He saw Isabella standing in the bathroom doorway, holding a knife, and his wife on the floor covered in blood. There was a baseball bat beneath her. He heard his wife say Jehovah, and then saw Isabella walked out with a bloody knife. He never heard Isabella saying anything, and that she didn't speak to him as she exited the bathroom. She was just staring straight ahead when she walked past him, like she was not herself. Following the 911 dispatcher's instructions, Ryan Hoy tried to open his wife's airway and perform CPR, but he noticed his wife's eyes were staring blankly ahead. She was already dead. She was pronounced dead at the scene. By the time police arrived, Isabella Guzman had already fled the scene. They quickly launched a manhunt, informing the public that Isabella was armed and dangerous. Ryan told dispatch that Isabella left wearing a pink sports bra and a turquoise shorts, taking the knife with her. Isabella fled the home. She went to a woman's restroom at a nearby H-Mart, washed her hair in the sink and changed her clothes. The employees at the H-Mart saw her covered in blood, asked her to help her, but she told employees that she had been raped in Denver and asked them not to call the police because they would send her back home and she was in fear of her father. Next day, someone called 911 about 11:30 in the morning to report a body inside the car. That body was actually Isabella sleeping in her car in the parking garage on South Parker Road. Arriving officers found the car, but no one was inside. They did find the item in the car, however, that led them to believe that these items were related to the earlier homicide in South Lima Street. Police called in undercover officers to help search the garage, and additional items were found that were believed to be involved in the homicide. When police tracked Isabella down, she told them that they had a wrong person. She said she was Samantha Gonzalez from Ohio. Police held up her ID card, but she said it looks like me, but it's not me. Eventually, police discovered Isabella leaving the parking garage. Witnesses watched as 3 police officers pulled out guns and ordered the team to the ground and took her into the custody. At the time of her arrest, Isabella pleaded not guilty by the reason of insanity. She was going to be charged as an adult, which means she was eligible for death penalty. She was held without bond, obviously for the reason that they didn't want her out of their custody, on bail. She was charged with first-degree murder and 2 counts of crime of violence. An autopsy found that Yunmi suffered 31 stabs to the face and 48 stab wounds to the neck, making it to the total 79 stab wounds to her head, neck, and torso. Although further evaluation showed that victim had more than 151 wounds on her body overall. This news came as a shock to everyone. No one expected this violence from this girl. Her aunt said that she saw a typical teenager when she visited the family a few months ago. She could get angry, she could yell, scream, storm off, lock herself in her room, but violence seemed out of her character. Her mother spoiled her, she said. Isabella told the investigating officers that there were voices in her head that told her what to do. This is often one of the most prominent symptoms of schizophrenia. She claimed that the voices told her that in order to save the world, she had to kill her mother. As the case unfolded in summer of 2014, doctors told court Guzman was schizophrenic. The doctor said that she had been dealing with high levels of schizophrenic thoughts for many years and had suffered highly disturbing delusions for years. Doctors told the court that Isabella did not believe her mother was in fact her mother. He testified Isabella believed she was killing a woman named Cecilia in order to save the world. Prosecutors took this evidence very seriously. He stated, "Look, the job of a district attorney is to pursue justice, and at the first blush when you look at this case, you see a horrific and violent murder by a daughter towards her mother. I have never seen a person with that many stab wounds. She was stabbed over 150 times. So you want that person to be held accountable." He mentioned the lady was a victim of circumstances. She was an undiagnosed mental patient and her family mistook her actions to be rebellious. They all thought it was the regularity in hot-headedness and she would calm down eventually. He said, "We punish people who make decisions to do wrong when they knew better and they could have done something differently. And in this particular case, I am convinced, based on the evidence that I have seen and the information that has been presented in the court, that this woman did not know right from the wrong and she could not act differently than she did. Given the significant schizophrenia and paranoid delusions, audible and visual hallucinations that she was going through, I was convinced of it and I felt like in the interest of justice, I had to take these steps. At the time, the prosecutor said Isabella would stay at the state hospital until she was no longer a threat to herself or the community, which could be days or for the rest of her life. Usually, court conducts a separate trial to determine an accused's sanity, but in this case, the prosecution agreed with the expert witness that Isabella was not guilty due to insanity. So there was no need of another trial. Based on the testimony, she was found not guilty by the reason of insanity. At the age of 18 years, she was sent to mental health institute at Pueblo. Isabella became a social media sensation following her heinous act that went viral on TikTok. This video was from a court hearing when Isabella was brought to the court with force after she refused to attend the court for her hearing. After 7 years of hospitalization in November 2020, Guzman claimed that her schizophrenia was under control and petitioned to be released from the institution, and she was now ready to reintegrate it into the society. She said her parents were Jehovah's Witnesses and she left the religion when she was 14 and the abuse at home worsened after she quit. Talking about the day she killed her mother, Isabella said she was not herself when she did that and she have since been recovered to full health. She stated, quote, "The fight with my mom was terrible and I was injured in the process. I have scars on my hand. If I could change it or if I could take it back, I would." At the same time, footage from her 2013 court hearing resurfaced and started making the rounds on TikTok, giving her a confounding fan base. In 2020, various TikTok users began posting Isabella's videos. Isabella quickly gained a fan base online. Commenters noted how beautiful she was, said she must have had a good reason for killing her mom. What? Face is given by God. That's not your talent. You make your character and that's what represents who you are. One video compilation of her court hearing gained nearly 2 million views. People even began making fan pages in Isabella's honor on Facebook and Instagram. I mean, I don't understand Z generation's obsession with Jewish criminals. At the moment, Isabella can leave the institution for group therapy and other types of treatment. She is required to wear a GPS tracker when she is out in the public. One fact that made me really sad that Isabella's famous video circulated so much on the internet that I was unable to find her mother's picture. She was the victim in this case, and this case became all about the daughter who killed her. I mean, if it was her family deciding not to share her picture online, I totally understand that. But this whole case became a talk about Isabella Guzman, and victim's identity is totally lost. So what do you think? What could have led the situation to this intensity? Was it Isabella's mother? Was it Isabella's mental condition? Well, whether it's mental condition, killing someone can never be justified. That's about it for today's video. Do share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I will see you next week. Bye.